Your brain is running on a setting it was never designed to hold this long. Not broken, not weak, just misconfigured. The anxiety that makes you dread checking your phone. The flatness that follows a week you can't even explain. That background hum of something is off. That's not a personality trait. That's a physical state, measurable, documented, and this is the part that floored researchers, reversible. Scientists at the University of British Columbia ran an experiment. They handed a group of clinically anxious people a 30-day protocol. No pills, no therapy, no biohacking gadget. After 30 days, their brain scans looked like different people. Stress hormones dropped 23%. The fear center of their brain actually shrank, and a circuit responsible for reward and empathy got stronger. The protocol was kindness. I know how that sounds. Stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you won't just believe the science, you'll have the exact 30-day roadmap to physically reconfigure your own brain. Here's something most people never learn about their own brain. The moment you do something kind, or watch someone else do it, or even just think about doing it, 3 chemicals drop at the exact same time. Researchers and clinicians call it the happiness trifecta. First, dopamine. That's your brain's reinforcement engine. Same signal that fires when you crush a workout, finish a project, or bite into something you've been craving all day. When kindness triggers dopamine, your brain files it under, do this again. Emory University researchers found that helping someone else activates your brain's reward center as if you were the one being helped. You are neurologically giving yourself a gift every time you give to someone else. Second, serotonin. This one's slower but bigger. It stabilizes your mood over days and weeks. It governs your sleep, your appetite, how fast your patience runs out. Dr. Kristen Francis at the University of Utah puts it plainly. Kindness stimulates serotonin through the same pathway as antidepressant medication. Not similar, the same pathway. Third, oxytocin, the social glue of human civilization. And it does something none of the others do. It makes your blood vessels physically expand. Nitric oxide floods the vessel walls. Blood pressure drops. Your heart gets more oxygen. Dr. David Hamilton, a molecular scientist, not a life coach, has documented this and called oxytocin cardioprotective, which is a medical way of saying that every time you extend genuine warmth toward another human being, you are protecting your own heart. That's not a metaphor, that's physiology. Here's the catch, and this is where most people quit before they ever start. That oxytocin boost, it lasts 3 to 4 minutes. Dr. Wagui Ishak at Cedars-Sinai has been very blunt about this. One act of kindness gives you a biochemical window. That's it. You cannot build a new brain on 3 minutes. What you can build it on is repetition. Think about what actually changes when you go to the gym. Day 1, you do a set of push-ups. Your muscle fibers tear slightly. You go home. Nothing visible changes, but something happened. And if you come back tomorrow and the day after, those fibers rebuild stronger. The muscle adapts. Your brain works the same way. Every repeated experience physically alters your neural architecture. Researchers call this neuroplasticity, the brain's documented, measurable ability to rewire itself based on what you consistently do, feel, and think. Every time a neural circuit fires, the connection gets slightly faster, slightly stronger, slightly more automatic. This is why 30 days matters. Not because kindness needs that long to do something. It does something immediately. But 30 days is roughly how long it takes for the changes to stop being events and start being you. Let's get specific about the research, because this isn't motivational poster science. This is peer-reviewed data published in the journal Emotion. Researchers Lynn Alden and Jennifer True at the University of British Columbia took a group of highly anxious individuals, not stressed out people, clinically classified. The kind of anxiety where social interaction doesn't feel awkward, it feels dangerous. They gave one group a simple instruction: perform at least 6 acts of kindness per week for 1 month. Nothing dramatic. Hold a door, bring a coworker coffee, text someone you've been meaning to check in with. The other groups received different interventions, including a standard cognitive behavioral therapy approach. After 4 weeks, the kindness group showed sustained increases in positive mood across all 4 weeks of the study. They reported higher relationship satisfaction. And the kicker, they showed a measurable decrease in social avoidance, the very behavior that feeds anxiety like oxygen feeds a fire. The kindness intervention outperforms standard CBT in boosting positive mood. Here's what the researchers think is happening on a mechanical level. Social anxiety is basically a broken prediction machine. Your brain keeps forecasting that other people will hurt you, judge you, reject you, leave you worse than before. And so you pull back. And because you pull back, you never get the data that would prove the prediction wrong. Kindness behavior breaks that loop. Every time you reach towards someone and they respond with a smile, a thank you, a moment of real connection, your brain logs it. The threat prediction updates. Over dozens of interactions across weeks, the fear circuitry doesn't just quiet down, it structurally changes. Before we go deeper, I want you to try something right now. Think of the last time someone did something small that genuinely made your day better. A stranger, a coworker, anyone. Got it? Good. Hold on to that person, and we're coming back to them at the end. Here's what's quietly happening inside most American adults right now. Cortisol, your body's primary stress hormone, is supposed to spike in moments of real danger, then drop. That's what it was designed for. A threat appears, cortisol floods your system, you deal with it, cortisol clears. Modern life broke that system. Most people are running a low-grade cortisol flood every single day. Deadlines, notifications, financial pressure, news cycles. The body can't tell the difference between a predator and a bad performance review, so the alarm stays on. And chronic cortisol is not a minor inconvenience. It erodes your immune system. It disrupts sleep. It accelerates cellular aging. It slowly degrades the hippocampus, the region of your brain that handles memory and emotional regulation. Now here's the number that should stop you. People who consistently practice kindness carry 23% less cortisol in their bodies compared to the average population. 23%. Published in Integrative Psychological and Behavioral Science. Not a wellness blog, a research journal. That 23% difference isn't just a number, it's your immune system staying stronger, your sleep getting deeper, your brain aging slower. It's the absence of the slow structural damage that cortisol does when it has nowhere to go. Kindness isn't stress relief in the way that a hot bath is stress relief. It's biochemical intervention. It directly suppresses the hormone that's wearing you down. In 2017, researchers at the University of Zurich partnered with Northwestern University and ran one of the most precise studies in this field. They gave 50 participants a weekly sum of money for 4 weeks. Half were told to spend it on themselves, half committed to spending it on others. Before the experiment started, everyone's brain was scanned. When the 4 weeks ended and they scanned again, the generosity group showed something the control group didn't. Greater activity in the temporoparietal junction. That's the region most directly tied to empathy, perspective-taking, and altruistic behavior. But more importantly, the fMRI revealed stronger connectivity between that region and the ventral striatum, the brain's reward center. The two areas were communicating more efficiently. They had literally grown closer together, structurally, through repeated behavior. And striatal activity during generous decisions directly correlated with self-reported happiness. It's not abstract. There's a specific, identifiable circuit that links generosity to well-being, and 4 weeks of consistent behavior made it measurably stronger. Dr. Richard Davidson at the University of Wisconsin, one of the most cited neuroscientists alive, calls this the compassion muscle. His research shows that empathy and pro-social behavior are trainable capacities. They respond to repetition the same way a bicep responds to curls. You're not born wired for connection or cut off from it. You're wired for whatever you consistently practice. Still here? Good. This next part is the one most people skip. Don't. I want to be honest with you for a second. Everything I've told you so far, the dopamine, the cortisol, the brain scans, none of it matters if you hear it and then do nothing. Because here's what the research also shows. The people with the most to gain from a sustained kindness practice aren't the people who already feel fine. It's people who feel stuck, isolated. The ones running a low-grade depressive drift that doesn't look like depression from the outside, but feels like it from the inside. If that's you, and statistically a lot of us are there, this is the part of the video that was made for you specifically. Because what you've been experiencing, the flatness, the withdrawal, the what's the point, that is not who you are. That is your amygdala running hot for too long. That is cortisol without an exit. That is a brain that has stopped trusting that other people are safe. And it can change, not through willpower, through behavior. Repeated, specific, daily behavior. Here's exactly what that looks like. The University of British Columbia study found that 6 acts of kindness per week produced sustained results. Lyubomirsky's research at UC Riverside added a critical nuance. Batch your kindness. People who perform 5 acts in a single day showed significantly greater well-being increases than those who spread acts across the week. Why? Because concentration creates signal. Your brain registers it as a distinct event, not background noise it can normalize. So here's the framework. Week 1, your immediate circle. Focus entirely on people you already know. A text to someone you've been meaning to reach out to. A specific compliment, not "you're great," but "the way you handled that situation last week was genuinely impressive." Leave a coffee for a neighbor. Pick one day to stack at least 4 or 5 of these. Week 2, expand to strangers. Now push slightly outside your comfort zone. Pay for the order behind you. Give a real compliment to a cashier. Use their name if they're wearing a tag. Leave a detailed review for a small business that deserves it. The mild discomfort is part of the mechanism. It forces your prefrontal cortex to override the anxiety signal. Each time it does, that pathway gets stronger. Week 3, invisible acts. Now go anonymous. Leave an encouraging note somewhere. Donate to something without telling anyone. Do something generous and let it go completely. No post about it, no mention. This week breaks the pattern of kindness as performance and trains the behavior to be intrinsically motivated, which is when the neurological payoff gets deepest. Week 4, sustain and vary. The brain habituates. Lyubomirsky's research shows that repetitive acts lose their signal over time. So week 4 is about mixing it up. New types of acts, new recipients, new contexts. Keep the behavior fresh enough that it stays a conscious choice rather than a reflex you stop noticing. The point of the roadmap is not to be good. The point is repetition with attention. Because mindless kindness creates habit. Attentive kindness creates change. The last thing you need to understand about the science, and this one will genuinely change how you walk through a public space. Oxytocin doesn't require participation. Stanford researcher Jamil Zaki documented that witnessing an act of kindness produces an oxytocin response in the observer. A complete bystander, someone who had no part in what happened, gets a neurochemical shift from watching. Their mood improves. Their likelihood of performing a kind act themselves measurably increases. This is what researchers call the moral elevation effect. It is the neurological reason one person's visible kindness can shift the behavior of an entire room. The circuit doesn't require you to be the giver or the receiver. Observation alone activates it. Here's what that means in practice. When you commit to 30 days of deliberate kindness, you are not running a personal experiment in isolation. You are introducing a signal into a social network that operates on the same hardware as your own brain. Every visible act of warmth you generate nudges the biochemistry of everyone around you. One person, 30 days. The math compounds in ways that are not metaphorical. And the research on what social connection does to mortality risk puts a number on the scale of this. Positive social bonds are associated with a 50% reduced risk of early death across multiple meta-analyses of large populations. Kindness builds those bonds. The chain runs from behavior all the way to biology, and the biology runs all the way to how long you live. The neuroscientists didn't discover a cure. They found a mechanism, and the mechanism has been inside human biology for as long as we've existed, woven into the oldest, most conserved systems in our brain: the reward circuitry, the stress response, the social bonding architecture. It was designed to be activated by care, by reaching toward other people. It just needs to be used. 30 days. Not a transformation, not a reinvention, a decision to point your behavior in a specific direction, with enough consistency for the biology to follow. The brain you have 30 days from now will be measurably different from the one you have right now, carrying less cortisol, more oxytocin, stronger connectivity between the regions that link empathy to reward, a calmer amygdala, and a prefrontal cortex that's been getting a real workout. That's not a promise. That's the documented output of the mechanism. The question isn't whether it works. The research settled that. The question is whether you're going to run the experiment. I think you are. And I think you already know who you're going to start with. All right. Remember that person I asked you to think about? The one who made your day better with something small? Here's your first act for the 30-day experiment. Drop their name in the comments, or just describe what they did. You don't need to tag them. You don't need to explain it. Just put it there. Because here's what's going to happen. Someone else is going to read it. And the moral elevation effect is going to trigger in a stranger watching this video. And they're going to feel a nudge toward doing something kind today. You are literally starting the ripple right now, in real time, in the comments section of a YouTube video. That's not cheesy, that's the mechanism. If this science landed for you, and I mean really landed, not just interesting video, but I need to forward this to someone, send it to one person you know who's running on empty right now. Don't write a message, just send the link. The video will explain itself. That act of sending counts as day one. Helper's high starts the moment you hit send. And if you want to be here for the 30-day update, where we look at how this community's data actually played out, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Not because the algorithm needs it, because you started something today and you deserve to see how it ends. I'll see you in the comments. Go do something inefficiently kind.